Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's time to experience the O's on the Original Sports Podcast.
Fellas, you caught me at mid-drink having some Dubby, one of our sponsors. Shout out to them. I like this stuff. It comes in a little canister, and you just put a scoop in with like 12 ounces of water, and I bought a shaker. It was like, I don't know.
What flavor you got there?
It's like a fruit punch flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like it. Like
I'm still munching on my Dubbies and the gummies form. From Bucky's in South Carolina, y'all. You got to stop by the Bucks and get some of the gummies. Chops, what do you like? You like the Bucky nuts or something like that?
They're beaver nuggets. However, until I'm taking a firm stance. Until they start paying us, I'm not letting
I know. I see putting it out to the Buckies.
I know. Not from here on out.
Like
this is what you get. Is what you get. Is what you get. Wrap it off until they start paying the Original Sports Podcast.
If we're having a beer, if we're having a glass of bourbon, it's just you get
the red solo cup going back in the day.
That's it. Fellas, long before the debate over Caitlin Clark and Miss Angel Reese were a thing, many great female athletes matriculated through college, Olympics, the WNBA ranks. Our guest today has been a viable part of the University of Maryland women's basketball program, an Olympic medalist, and took her talents to the top level in the WNBA. Miss Vicky Bullett was not done yet, though. She parlayed her basketball talents and charisma into developing her own program, helping youth as well as teaching in the high school. I don't know. She should have talked to me before she did that. And that's where she discovered her passion for helping young people as well. Let's bring Vickie in. I'm so excited to speak with her. She is such a personality. Hi, Miss Vickie.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Vickie.
How you doing, Miss Bullett? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Now, quick question, because I see you're still repping that USA stuff.
Yeah.
Like, all I got is Pittsburgh gear. Is that all you guys USA stuff?
A little bit of everything. I'm a Boston Celtics.
Oh, okay.
That hurts me to my heart.
Did she say Celtics?
Yes. No, we're Dr. J guys.
No.
Pittsburgh. That's all we had was Philly. I had to.
Who was your guy on the Celtics growing up?
Well, back then when I followed Larry Bird, that whole group, Dennis Johnson, the coach, Kevin McHale, and Parrish, because I was a post player, so I kind of wanted to mimic them. So they were my watch those post moves that they had.
I love Robert Parrish. He always came across so serious, but he was
the chief.
a basketball player. He was probably my favorite on that group. But I will be honest with you, I was a Lakers fan, and I still am a Lakers fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is. It's tough sledding.
I don't dislike LeBron, but I'm not like big time into him.
Okay.
I'm ready for the next wave of young bucks to come through in the NBA, just like it's happening in the WNBA.
Yes,
we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. Ms. Vickie, talk a little bit about your early years and how recruiting actually went for you.
Well, wasn't as fortunate as the kids had today. We didn't have, AAU basketball. Kind of leaned on my oldest brother, Don, who actually played at a Division II, came home, coached my high school team. And, Vickie, go to Morgantown. You got to get some exposure. So did that, had an opportunity to play on a travel team that I had to, practice, but, 5 hours in the car to get back and forth. So got some exposure because we got to the championship and a lot of letters start coming in the mail. So opportunity to get, looks of Tennessee, University of Maryland, and things like that. Having 6 brothers kind of really helped because, it was all about them, and I was just in the midst of things. So hats off to my brother who really paved that way for me to get some exposure coming from Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Okay, all right, no. Okay, I'm gonna follow, but I do have a 2-part question. But first and foremost, okay. So you end up at Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
How did University. How'd you get to Maryland? How'd they let you out of the state of West Virginia? How'd that coach keep his job, her job? How'd that even happen?
I know. Well, that's what, what's funny. People say that you were from West Virginia. How did you not go to West Virginia Mountaineers? To be honest with you, Maryland was only an hour and 15 minutes from my house versus Morgantown at the time. They had to cut that big hole through the mountain, and it was just, not going there, but having the opportunity to go to Maryland. And as soon as I got home from that championship in Clovis, New Mexico, Maryland started calling, Tennessee started calling. So it boiled down to those two schools. I knew I was going to Maryland because it was so much closer to home. And
so
being such a homebody, I said, Mom, I'm not leaving. Maryland was the place. And plus, they were really good with telling me what I can do as far as education. It's about basketball, but I really had to put my foot down about getting a degree more than anything, because basketball, it came natural, but trying to be a student athlete wasn't as easy. People think it's difficult. They think it's easy, but it's not. It's very difficult, especially playing at a Division I. So Maryland was the place.
Wow. Okay.
It might be a little easier now, though, to be quite honest with you, because they put so much in front of you. You really just need to show up these places. You just got to be a time manager now.
That's true. It wasn't, yeah.
I've had several boys from our high school that have gone on to play. One playing at Maryland right now, Caden Grather, playing football there. And it's all laid out for them.
Yeah.
Show up where you need to.
That is so true.
Did you ask your two-parter, Chops? Or did you just get
that was one part about. Yeah.
Well, no, there's so much. I don't want to. I have so many questions. But I'm gonna let T Sizzle go, because I don't even want to. Go ahead, T.
So fast forward, you come from West Virginia, you're in Maryland, you go overseas. What was that like? Because we got a lot of the fanfare behind the draft now, and the WNBA draft. What was it like for you coming into the WNBA? How did that transpire, evolve? What emotions were evoked from that experience?
Well, the fact that I think prior to the WNBA in '97, I had played overseas for 7 years. So as soon as I graduated, that was the next thing. That was, that's all we had. I wasn't really, my dad would say, I wasn't really ready to have a real job. So let's keep playing basketball. And by that time, there's a lot of other players prior to that were overseas. Vickie, try Italy. You can make that transition a little easier. But I didn't hear about any, because, professional league, we had a couple scouts that came to Italy, and they were telling us about this big thing. I said, well, whatever you got, and it's at home, let me be a part of it. So then, the transition was easy, because the fact that we were already playing at a high level with a lot of other foreign players on the team, and then we were in good shape. That's what the longevity is. It's the fact that you never stop. From college, I went over, and, you get a short period of time through 8 months of the season. So it was great. I came right back into the league, and probably with Andrea Stent were the ones that were just leading the team, because we were in such good shape. But it wasn't, I've never approached anything that's difficult, because I always worked so hard prior to it. So the transition was just being at home and, making that adjustment. The hardest part was just going overseas and not having social media, not having the internet at the time. So yeah, I embrace every opportunity there is to be embraced.
You had those calling cards you were still using back then.
We were writing letters still. The collect call. Would you please accept the collect call from Italy? Yeah, we had.
Mom ever say no? Mom was like, nah.
Well, I said, okay, just a few minutes. You doing okay? Okay, bye.
Where at in Italy did you play?
I played mostly in the South, in Naples, Bari, Toronto. Not much up north, but when you got into the FIBA Cup, you pretty much go outside the other countries. But in the beginning, that's where, South was always the best. But it was a little warmer, but it was fun. We got to travel throughout the entire Italy, but that's what, the area of the sport that I played was mostly in the south of Italy.
Have you been back since you left?
Well, I've got more friends, I think, there than I do here, playing for years. But yeah, I've been back several times. But since the pandemic, I hadn't had an opportunity to go. And plus teaching and then working in the summer is kind of hard to visit. Yeah. But thanks to Facebook, you keep in touch with your Italian family as well.
Hey, who took you under your wing when you're a young lady, you get to Italy or you get to the WNBA? who was instrumental in your early years and like helped you develop not only as a basketball player but as a person?
Well, that question comes up a lot, and you know what? I have been, with my family, we just had strong ties. My oldest brother Don is probably the one that just gave me steps, gave me advice. Vickie, do this. Vickie, do that. Because I admired what he did. I'd watch his work ethic, my dad's work ethic, and I admired all athletes. And people always ask that same question. Who was the toughest player that you had to play against? I mean, mentally, I say myself because I know I worked hard, but competitively, every player that stepped on the court was always tough for me. I don't care who you were. You were an athlete. You can do so much. I respected every player that I had to defend. And I was determined. But, you have so many, Cheryl Miller was a player that we heard about, but she wasn't on TV enough for us to follow. But we heard about her. And then, you get overwhelmed when you actually get to meet these people. But I follow the footsteps through, a lot of individuals because you can't do it by yourself. There's always someone. And I was like a sponge. Whatever you had to offer that's positive, that's going to help my stride, I'm going to take advantage of it. So, there's so many people in that bucket.
Now, wait a minute. I just heard you say whenever you got on the court, it was challenging no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I offered to post you up, and you said you squashed me.
I squash you.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of it.
We met at the Potomac Ridge Brewery, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half?
There you go.
You said, get out here, little guy. I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
You still have that
game.
competitive.
She's still got game, guys. Don't worry. She'll bring it tough.
And it's funny because Barber asked who helped mold you or whatever have you. My family from where we're from, we're friends with the Stringer family. So growing up, I knew Vivian Stringer, whatever have you, and I'd hear shots. So I'd heard your name before. So I knew of you and some other players, whatever have you. However, I saw in your game a little Kareem, and I say that because you had a nice sky hook. I mean, it was pretty. I'm not, and but you also about 14 to 16 feet out on the post, you could do work too. You had a nice little jumper as well. Because what was your height when you go to Maryland? Are you?
I was 6'1". Well, they list you as 6'3". They always give you a couple more inches.
Okay, so on that aspect, was it your brothers and playing against your brothers that helped you with your game, whether it was posting up, whether it was your skyhook? Where did you learn that?
Yeah, from Donnie Bullett was his name. And he was a guard like post. And he would teach me the running hook. I had a brother that played, he was 6'8", but he was just facing the basket. But Don said, you got to have a lot of counter moves. You're going to come across someone who's taller. What are you going to do? So he implemented that in my game. Vickie got it. I mean, he was such a gem because he could do a lot of things for his size. So he didn't want me to be that player that just played with my back behind the basket. And, when you learn that when you go overseas, I never took a 3-point shot at Maryland. But as soon as I stepped out of Maryland, you got to develop other aspects. So you're difficult to defend. So how do you defend her? How do you defend, post players who can shoot the three? You get up on them, they go by you. So that versatility came first from Don. And then you learn to be versatile when you go overseas because they want you to play 1 through 5. So they want to take advantage of you. Yeah. So, I love the hook shot. They don't teach it anymore, but I still use mine.
No, exactly. So when you're coming up and you're of course in high school and whatever have you, and you're going and playing where Dawn will take you. Do you feel now, looking back, were you getting better when you're traveling playing with those girls, or when you were playing and Dawn's teaching you, playing against your brothers, playing against boys? Where were you? Do you believe your game was truly getting better and you were seeing your handle better, your shot better, your defense?
I got overseas, when my first, 10, I guess, 6 years overseas, because just the versatility of the game. They never, if you don't have 4 or 5 fouls, you play the whole 40 minutes. And you train to play 40 minutes when I was overseas. You never come out unless, there's a minute left before the halftime. And, and this is overseas where you're playing or you're practicing almost 2 times a day. And then you play 40 minutes. So I think the versatility of that aspect of the game was probably introduced on my part overseas. You know, I'm gonna learn how to shoot the three. Why not? You know, and of course the inside game was just, you know, always taught by my brother Don, and then, you know, being at Maryland and, you know, those Olympic teams. I mean, Coach Stringer coached me in 1990. So she was one of those U.S. select teams. So I had her as a coach. So you know, the expectations, you know, she was always teaching yourself, not just physically, mentally, how to play. Yep.
That's interesting, because that's what you hear now is about our European players coming into NBA and WNBA, and how well-rounded and versatile and just dominant compared to the American player.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jermaine Jones on the show, and we talked about the NBA today and why guys like you know, Jokic and those guys, Doncic, all those guys are at the top of the game. And yes, LeBron scores a lot of points. And yes, Jaylen Brown plays, you know, a solid D, scores points. But why are those guys like further ahead? And Jermaine said, you know, they play defense. They know how to play as a team. That's how you're taught in Europe. You know.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, having the opportunity to practice twice a day, I don't think a lot of kids would do. And I got used to it. I got used to it off the season. You know, you do your weight training, your skill training in the morning, and then later in the evening, I find a pickup game. And this was like, you know, throughout the week. So you get used to that routine. Your body gets used. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I probably had one severe injury in my whole entire career. That, you know, I tore my ACL and my meniscus the first year in New Zealand. It may be from fatigue, who knows? But the whole time I was in the WNBA, I've never missed a game in 6 years. And I was a starter for 6 years, and, you know, not having injury. I never set out because I had an injury. You just learn to take care of your body and, you know, the longevity that you have. So, and in college, I never had an injury. So, yeah, I maybe have good genes.
That's awesome.
But you also, unlike today's athlete, you fought through things that today's athletes take 2 weeks off to just collect a paycheck sometimes.
Yeah, they do. Again, just you have so many things I could ask. Just however, real quick, as you talked about Miss Stringer, you know, coach being your team. Now you played overseas, right? Then you still hadn't hit the WNBA yet. I don't believe what happened. But what are your moments? What WNBA, overseas, in the Olympics? Can you tell us, was there a difference in the way the games were played? Because we hear there's a difference in international play compared to American ball. Or how did you guys prepare and do it for the Olympics? You were at Olympics twice, I believe, a two-time Olympian.
88,
okay.
92.
What were the difference in those games? You know, on the way they played?
Well, I just think, I mean, each individual has a gift, you know, and in a gift that what is your desire? I was always a defensive player, always play defense. I love defense. I love stopping players. I love, you know, playing against the players that scored 20 points and I limited 10. You know, I was like, can I guard her? My brother Don told me, Vickie, to make this team, 88 Olympic team, I was one of the youngest players. He said, just play defense. He goes, Vickie, stop their best players. Coaches don't take you out because you don't play defense. They take you out because you're letting them score. So play defense. And I remember still today that Coach Yao, who was the 88 Olympic coach, and she told me, she said, Vickie, I know you play offense because I have to play against you against the ACC. She said, if you want to make this team, you better shoot the ball because I already know you can play defense. So it just, you know, okay, well, I better do both so I can make this team. But I just think even with Coach Stringer as the coach, it's just everything was based on defense. And, you know, they say, you know, your defense likes your offense. But I didn't have that mentality. It's just like I played because I was passionate about, you know, stopping other people. You know, I wanted the coach to tell me, hey, listen, I need you to slow this kid down. You know, always playing defense. But I think today there's some players who don't have to play defense because they had people like myself. You can't defend them, then I'll be there to help you. You know, I mean, without a doubt, I don't think Donna Taurasi is a great defender, you know, but she had people around her to hide her. You know, you have teams that, okay, this kid's not a good defender, but we got to hide her. And because she's a good offensive player. But see, I had to do both. I needed to be effective offensively and defensively. And I think that doesn't come from the coach. It's just come from the passion of the player of what end of the game that you wanted to play. I didn't want to miss anything.
And you say that, and I am huge on that. That defense takes will. You have to have a skill, but like defense, that when you're playing defense, you're getting down there, you're getting grimy. So was that instilled to you from your brother Don?
Yes.
Okay. Now, were you a dominant defensive player in high school?
Yes.
Okay. So from young, Don was like
energy you
defense.
get from stealing. I'd steal the ball. I'm not a post player that stands. I get mad at the WNBA today because they don't teach the kids the V cut and get in front 3/4. They just have them sit behind, put your arm bar up, and then you bring help. No, I don't need your help. I'm going to deflect the passes, and you get the deflects. And you got to be able to read. You have to be agile as a post player. I don't see that today. I don't see post players leading in steals. I used to lead in steals in college, and even some part of the WNBA. I loved it. And then blocking shots is not because I'm tall, because I have good timing. A certain player. And I love that kind of part of the game that kids don't do today. Even the kids in W, you can have a good timing. But Asia Wilson, for example, she knows where's the pump fake before you shoot. No, they don't do that either. She's gonna block your shot. Give her a pump fake, and But that was way back in the day game.
You think it's because of the three? Because of the three just becoming so dominant in today's game, it's just kind of ruining a lot of those little elements of it.
That's true too. Everybody wants the three ball. It only counts for three. You can get fouled, blocked.
What I was thinking, Vickie, while you were talking, you don't get paid to be a defensive player in the NBA and the WNBA. No. You get paid to score points.
Yeah,
right. And that's not. You got to have the will. You got to have the will, and you got to want to meet the challenge to be a defender.
Yeah,
and that's just the bottom line. Even in Major League Baseball, you could be a lousy fielder, but if you can hit 35 home runs, they got you. It's just basketball and hockey that they really want the people who can play, an entire floor of the game or an entire sheet of ice at a game.
That's true. You got, like you said, you got to be passionate about defense, and it's a wheel. It is a wheel. Yep.
Yeah.
So you shared a lot about your upbringing and getting into the game and your support system with your family. How about whenever you were in college or in the pros, a learning experience that just sticks with you to this day, from whether it be your teammates, your roommates, your coaches? What was a learning experience from college or being in the pros?
Well, my outlook of things is when opportunities are right out there in front of you to grasp, you take advantage of it. And as an educator, I always tell my students, we use the word abuse, as a negative connotation. If you had something I needed to learn, I'm going to abuse you to get it in a manner which, knowledge is power. If I want to learn something, I'm going to go to the source. I'm not going to wait till later. But my teammates were that kind of, support system. Teachers were support systems. And, just people who love the sport that were positive. I try to eliminate everything about, being, negative. I can't I can't function when there's things, negative. And, some people will listen and, make their opinion known. If there's a negative, I move away. But, always trying to find friends who think positive all the time. I always embrace positivity. My dad was positive all the time when things didn't do well. And I kind of grew up around people who were like myself. And, you grow stronger. So, teammates, I still talk to all my teammates and we reminisce. And it's always a good conversation. As much as we got around that's negative, we always try to come back to that sense of, this is what we did in a positive environment that we created, not from the outside source. We kind of created that bubble and just, we're aware of the negativity, but positivity is just, I don't know, just one of my things I always go by.
So you played 88 and 92, right? 88 and 92. What was the difference between the two Olympics you went to? Because you kind of were a pup in 88, right?
Yeah.
So talk about the difference.
Well, just that, being younger and not even really expecting to be on the team. I know it was a learning curve. What's international basketball look like? And then actually having to play with a lot of players that we read about never really playing because the WNBA wasn't there. And these young ladies were just coming in from, I guess, a daily job to play in 88. But Teresa Weatherspoon was on that team that she was young and she had one more year. I think there was 3 or 4 players, or maybe just 3 players who still had one more year of college. So Ann Donna was one of the biggest. I mean, I looked at her like she was gone because she has such a wisdom that Vickie, you got to do this, Vickie, got to do that. So Ann Donovan was one of those players that took me under my wing to say the difference. The transition was that 92, you felt a little older, felt that, okay, now I know what it's like. So now it's time to pass the torch. So that's what 92 was. From 88 to 92, you had that experience, had the opportunity with Coach Stringer between that time and then 92. But 92 was just a little bit, I tell you, that Russian team was really good. I don't think how much we could prepare. We lost because they were better. Not because we weren't prepared. They were just better.
Yeah, I mean, that's being honest. Can't keep, I mean,
Yeah,
that's just keeping it 100. I get. Now, as positive as you can is, like you said, you like to surround yourself with positive people. So, and in today's WNBA, which I'll admit, I followed women's college hoops significantly longer than I have WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now we've got everybody's going. It's Reese and Caitlin Clark. Reese and Caitlin Clark. Is there one's game that you prefer over the other? Now, this will be a 2-part question. Is there one's game that you prefer over the other? I know you play what position you play, but is there ones you prefer over the other?
What do you mean, as in style of the way Chicago plays to Indiana, or just the style of
individuals?
Individuals.
Yeah,
individuals.
I like the pace. I like the vision. I like how the versatility of post players are not just playing on the low block. The versatility has spread. I mean, Asia Wilson's shooting threes, even Boston's shooting threes. Now, when Reese gets to the point where she feels comfortable making those threes, she's going to be tough.
Yeah, because she's already getting doubles and points and rebounds.
She's got to get to where Asia Wilson is right now because she's relentless on the glass because she's closer to it. She's closer to it. She's always around the rim because that's where her offensive game resides. But when she starts shooting threes, see, it'll take away from those defensive rebounds unless they don't box her out. But I just love the speed, how they get the rebound and go, or even getting the ball out of bounds and go. It's just so fluid, just so fluid. Not much more of, time and score situations. That's happening when the clock is down. But, executing plays, Minnesota, when they had Meyer Moore, everything was flex cut, because she was that versatility. She can play on the outside and she can beat you up on the low block. But I like that. I like the speed that Caitlin Clark and, just all the teams are just pushing the needle and just a lot more.
Right. Now, go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, how much do you think the media made a rift between Caitlin and Angel? Because I don't buy into it at all. I don't. I really don't.
They made it so big. It's crazy. It's really bad. I tell you what, I feel for Caitlin Clark, but she's handling it well because she's got so much confidence and drive. But yeah, the social media is just like, for me, for example, I don't even listen to it because even when Caitlin Clark's not playing, they still bring up her. So, let me enjoy these other kids I don't know about. But yeah, they really made it bigger than it actually is.
Now, having said that, as you said, when Reese develops her 3-point shot, I have noticed in a few games, quite a few games in different moments, when the Fever are playing Caitlin Clark's team and it comes down to the nitty gritty and they're needing defense, they're taking her out some. So whose game do you think, because you played at all levels, so I respect your opinion, do you think it may be easier for Reese to develop a 3-point shot or Clark to develop defensive skills where she's not a liability on the court?
Well, I think right now she's getting better. I mean, right in the beginning, because she was told it's okay, you don't have to play defense. But now I think she's getting better with the defense. She just has to try to keep her player in front of her. And that's hard to say when you got Enrique, you got all these defenders all these offensive threats that are ball handlers are going to the rim, you know, but she's getting some block shots. She's long, but you know, it's that's just the way it's going to be with her. But if you put her in a lot of pick and rolls now, you'll see that she's working to get through them. But yeah, they're going to hide it. Like I said before, they're going to hide your weakness. So if she's a weak defender, they're going to pull her out and then put her in the offensive end. So I think other teams got to take advantage of it, you know, as much as they can. But like you said, Reese is going to be because she plays pretty good defense. I think shot, it'll be better for her. Mm-hmm.
I'm interested. It's close. I'm interested to see how the voting goes for that Rookie of the Year. I'm impressed with the double-double. I really am. I'm impressed with that double-double.
I think it's going to be split down the middle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if
they give Co. They give Co MVP or
I wouldn't be surprised.
Rookie of the Year. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Vickie, we're privileged, pleasure, honor to have you on the OSP here. But you're too pretty, and you're too smart to be sitting behind a camera. How do you share this wealth of wisdom? What's your how do you get out there and just educate people about the sport of basketball today? What do you do?
Well, right now, like during, after school's out, I have a program called Bulletproof Basketball Academy. And my brother Scotty, one of them, he played professional baseball for the Pirates and the Cubs. And once he finished, he lives in Canada and he developed that program. So his is baseball, mine's basketball. So my program is about educating kids, not just only physically, but mentally, the part of the game. Because physically, we've got a lot of kids who are not the selection of an AAU travel team. We've got to develop them. And I've got great parents. Last year we had one team. Now I got 3. And I trust the parents. Parents trust me. And I can't make it any bigger than what it is because I only have 2 coaches and that's myself and the other guy. And I just don't trust people who are in it for the wrong reason. So that wisdom's going to all these young people who play for my program. And it's not tryout. It's invitation only. So I go into the schools and, I get feedback from, how does Cindy treat her teacher? So-and-so. We watch the rec league. And it's like those kids who need development, who are not getting it the proper way, I invite them to my program. You have your elite. Think you should do elite. I said, I'm traveling from here to school 15 minutes. I'm not traveling all over the world when you can learn the fundamentals right here in my house. So we travel to the games that are in my community. We do community service. And that's it. So, teams want us to come places. I was like, no, we don't have those type of kids. We have kids that play a system that's developing them. We don't have any hot dogs, and that's not what I want to do. I want to see these kids go from, the 5th grade, and they know how to use their left hand. They know how to shoot correctly. And then, you know what? Hey, there's all kinds of schools out there that kids can get. And, that's why it's called student athlete. And I don't have those elite kids. I want to give them all I can do. And through that, that's what my program is about.
Bless you. That's extremely respectful. And that goes to what Chops' question was, invest in your backyard. And and that is to be commended. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing work. You're doing awesome stuff.
Always said too, you need so many more resources when you're traveling all over the country, and it costs people so much more money when really it's not worth it. You know what? If you're a great athlete and you develop all the technique, the fundamentals, the skills you need, you work really hard at it, you're going to get discovered. Somebody's going to see you, whether it's in high school or in some youth league you're playing in. Like, that's the bottom line. And then you go out and earn the rest of it by playing at the next level, kind of like you did. You know what I'm saying? So, 100%. I mean, and you couldn't be more of a stand-up person for doing that.
Yeah, and I share that. People, would say, well, my child's playing for, this, and that. I said, well, why can't you just stay right here and train with our program? She goes, well, they got to get exposure. I said, but I graduated from here. What exposure did I have in my senior year? I said, I made it. I made it. But, you get influenced by, everybody else, and this is what they're doing. What I mean, God bless my kids. They'll get there, even if it's a junior college or wherever they go. They're going to get the best of what I have to offer. And, it doesn't cost much. It costs a smile and time. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to name drop. I've interviewed plenty of, we've had plenty of professional athletes come through here. And so many of them say, well, I didn't start doing that until high school. A number one draft pick in the NFL by the name of Leon Searcy, he's the only one I'll name drop. His mother wouldn't let him play football until his junior year because his grades weren't right.
Yeah.
And when he got his grades right, he got discovered his senior year, ended up being a number one draft pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like it doesn't, to me, you grow into that. You could do it as an 8-year-old. You could travel all over the country. I see people do that in hockey and baseball. And I'm like, why? Why?
It's like everywhere.
Yeah. Vickie, if you didn't play basketball, what would have been your other go-to sport that you would have maybe played college or possibly professional if it had a professional league?
I knew he was going to ask me that question. Softball. Oh my gosh, I love softball.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Actually, I started out as a catcher, and then I just started growing too fast, and tendonitis was a part of it. I said, I can't do this. I couldn't get up and down. So I moved from being the back catcher to the shortstop, and it was I loved it. And I played baseball with my brother until they had a softball league, so I went there. But yeah, I had Florida State University come and recruit me to play softball. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, I got a scholarship to play softball. He goes, you're not playing no softball. I said, well, I can go there and do both. He said, not with those grades.
Oh,
I said,
Yeah.
He said, you better stick with the basketball because, softball wasn't that big. But yeah, he kind of just got my mind somewhere else. So basketball. Yeah, softball. I love softball. Goodness gracious.
And Vickie, I get this from you, you're very humble. You don't like to brag on yourself, but if we could switch that for half a moment, real quick. All right. You're what, 89 ACC player of the year. You get inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame. You're a big impact pioneer inductee in 22. You were director of the Boys and Girls Athletic Club, which I know we're all around your age. We didn't have those sort of things coming up, so you're able to shape young minds and athletes the way that we didn't get. Of all those things, what are you the most proud of when you got, what are you most proud of? Like, brag on yourself. What are of all those accomplishments, what are you most proud of?
I get that question a lot too. Well, this may be odd for a lot, but when I graduated from the University of Maryland, that was one of my proudest moments.
Okay.
School was difficult. I didn't apply. Well, not that I didn't apply myself. It was difficult for me to apply. I didn't know how to study. So I knew that all of the other things with sports was easy. Graduating, getting that diploma was probably, even winning a gold medal had nothing to do with me getting and walking across that stage with a diploma and my bachelor's degree. And I say that because, my parents, didn't graduate from high school. They, at 10th and 11th, 9th, 10th grade educations. And it was, determined in my home. My parents didn't have the quality of education that we have. So getting that degree was probably the proudest moment for me because I had to work extra hard. I remember
family could share in that. Absolutely.
I always say that because it's true. Sports came easy to me, but being a student wasn't, and I took advantage of it. And I went on to graduate and I have my master's and, all that stuff. And because I had great teachers, and that's why I think in education, I had great teachers who saw, okay, Vickie struggles here. How can I help her how can I help her learn? And those teachers never let me down. They, I had a question. And I was always afraid. When you don't have that intellectual, stability, you fear failing academically. I never feared if I was going to get my shot blocked or miss a shot because I knew later. But, in the classroom is a little different. It kind of just puts you down in a way that, okay, I'm not smart enough. How I'm going to do this? But I had great educators and that type of support. And so when I walked across that stage to get my diploma, I said, fear no more.
That's right. I know that's right.
You needed me as a teacher because I don't let the kids fail. I don't
No, I work though. I'll be making them work. Now this not gonna be, and I tell them my story, because every student they think that it's like, hey, we have mistakes. I misspell words too. That doesn't mean that I can't keep trying. So yeah, I tell the students my struggle as a student athlete, and they kind of relate and they say, well, you know what? Not everybody's perfect. I don't tell them I'm perfect because I'm not. So yeah, we all have those struggles, but that education will take you everywhere. It's
That's real. Yeah, it's real. Besides your favorite stuff like hanging out on the OSP here, going to Potomac Ridge, giving back to your community, what else do you do in your free time? How do you spend your free time? You got to relax a little bit.
Well, of course, as athlete, we always work out. I love to cut grass. I have a Z-turn. I like to cut grass. But I keep a journal. I've kept a journal probably majority of my life. I just love to write, wisdom from, quotes. But yeah, in my spare time, I'll sit down. I read whatever book you can put in front of me. Just things like that, just small things. But I'm usually out and about, visit friends, family, and things like that. So I don't need much. I've traveled so much that you kind of just get complacent. You just want to be home. So yeah.
What was amazing about you when we met you out of Potomac Ridge Brewery? I watched you for a while interact with people, and I think that oftentimes people go up to somebody with your stature. You don't have to agree with me in terms of how well-rounded and what a great person you are and how many accomplishments you've had, although you probably do in the back of your head. But I watched how you made everybody feel so comfortable and so welcome, and you had conversation with them. And it was just, that's why I rolled right up on you. I'm always a little bit hesitant asking somebody to be on the show sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I watched you, and you had that whole table of all your friends and family. Is that what that was? All your friends and family that were there? That was really neat to see. I thought that was just a great thing. I feel very thankful and blessed that we got to actually meet in person, and that you came on the show. Before we let you go, though, would you mind? I know you said you don't do much with social media, but if you do anything with it, would you mind sharing what your social media handles are, where they could find you if you are out there?
Yeah, well, I do have a Facebook page, and I have a Facebook page just personally, and we don't have a website yet because we're trying to work on someone to show me how to do this stuff. But anyway, it's Bulletproof Basketball Academy, and that's that. You can follow me on Facebook, and that's it. I don't do Instagram and all that stuff. I don't have time. But we just have a small group. People keep saying, Vickie, you need to market more, but I can't market that much because we don't have the space and we don't have the coaches, because I'm really particular about who works with our kids. And, I want them to have the best experience. And when you have a program that has your name on it, you want to make sure it's done the right way. Because I always tell people this too, my legacy is not mine. It's that of my parents. And I carry their name. And so I want to make sure, it's respected in the way in which they had brought me and my brothers up. So, yeah, so that's the social media I have. Bulletproof Basketball Academy. You can find stories about, the program itself and the kids. And it doesn't just happen in the summer. I follow the kids through all the, their middle school season. So I can't wait to go out there and see them play and see how much they've improved.
Vickie, real quick, and just as we let you go, all the way live, like you said, 6 brothers, sports family, keeping it all the way live, pound for pound. Who's the best athlete in the family?
I'm gonna have to say Scotty. I don't know. I can't even say myself.
Did you figure you got recruited by the D1 in softball?
No,
you played D1 basketball.
Yeah, I have a 6'8" brother that played for Glenville, and they both went to the same school. I don't know. We're all good. We played in the Gus Macker. Have you guys ever heard of the Gus Macker?
No.
Well, the Gus Macker was a 3-on-3 tournament. And me and my brothers, we were all in. We beat everybody.
Now, so basketball.
Here come the bullet. That's what they'd say. Okay. But I would say Scotty, who played professional baseball, was all around. He played baseball. He played football. He's track and field. Okay. So he played more sports than we all did. So Scotty probably was the best athletic athlete of all the family.
Now, was basketball the one common denominator that all you guys played? Now
Well,
you
yeah,
played.
well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But my dad, he was funny. I'll tell you this little story to get off the thing. Every Christmas, he'd get a football, a baseball, a bat, soccer balls, and he put it in a bin. And it was Christmas. And he will go and this is what you got for Christmas. So you pick which one you wanted to play with. But every year he would do that. So he never selected the sport we play. But yeah, it was basketball. Probably basketball and baseball was the thing
Okay.
that we all played. Yeah.
That's because I always like to know how
Yeah.
you rank, how the athlete we're speaking to, how do they rank in their own family?
Yeah, I'm probably in the middle.
That's great stuff. We cannot I can't thank you enough for spending this time with us.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. You brought so much to light, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you guys for all the wonderful. Hopefully people will see and be inspired.
Oh yeah, we'll put it out there definitely.
Absolutely. Yep,
all right,
this will
guys.
be everywhere.
Week. Thanks for having me. Hopefully someday we'll meet again.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Take
Guys,
care.
take care.
Have a great summer.
But you too. Bye-bye.
All right, appreciate it.
Chops, I just got to know, how in the hell did you reserve yourself from just rolling with questions? Because I saw the look in your eyes. I've known you since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
And you talk a lot, and I love it. That's one of my favorite things about you. But I know you just had shit.
Oh, dude, yeah, I did. And I wanted to know, honestly, man, because where she was in West Virginia, I know she had sports was great, but like, what was it like coming up? Because like you said, there wasn't much in her area. And I knew a lot of West Virginia because I still had family in West Virginia. It was still, I don't want to say segregated, but black part in this town, white in this town. What was it like? And you come out of, I want to know, did she even visit Tennessee? What was her visit like to Tennessee, coming down south and whatever. So it was rough. But honestly, it was easier with you guys because there's a mutual respect on this platform. You know what I mean? So I could, come on, man, anytime. I don't care who it is. We can be talking to anyone about anything. And if it's sports, we'll always have enough that we can keep going. But I was like, all right, they're going to ask questions, relax, chill, sit back. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, I just, I'm going to reach out to her and thank her again personally. She gave me her text number. So I'm going to see about getting her brother on the show. I think it'd be a lot of fun to get Scott B.
You got to get Scotty B on. Scotty B played for the Buccos.
I think he played
with Bonds.
I was going to say he played during the Leland era. I believe.
88 to
he's 55. 55. Yeah, he's 55.
Yeah.
Leland just got inducted. You see that?
Now, where you guys met her? What was the event, or you just happened to all be? Oh, you said at the brewery.
We went to I saw it on Facebook. One of my kids I coached in high school in football had shared it because he went to Shepherd and he helps coach out there. And she was going to be at Potomac Ridge Brewery out in close to Martinsburg. And I hit Sizzle up in New Basel. And I said, guys, you want to take a ride with me? I said, I want to meet this lady. I read about her. And I was like, we got to try and get her on the show. She sounds like she's an amazing person. And she didn't let us down, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Dynamic personality, contagious.
Exactly. Super open. Now, how far was the drive from where you were to where
about
she
40
was?
minutes. It was only about 40 minutes.
That's good stuff.
Yeah,
man.
it was worth it. It was 100% worth it.
Absolutely.
I would do that to meet any pro athlete that I felt comfortable with. And I'm Chops, I'm not kidding, man. I watched her interact with people before I got up off the table and went and saw her. Probably like a half hour. I watched her.
Just watch. I got you.
And I was like, oh my God, this lady, like, is she friends with every one of these people?
Yeah, you say that about going to meet any pro athlete, and I probably would too. But the more we do this and we have these people on our show, to me, it's more about these are people, and they are kind of little. Some of them underplaying their recognitions and their what their notorieties are, but in accomplishments, because they're giving back to their community, and all the things that they do outside of the sports is more important. And you saw that tonight with Vickie.
And T says, I get that, But you also hear about a lot of these athletes and or actors who are still idiots to a lot of common people. You know what I mean? So it was refreshing that how open she was and just talking and how easily the conversation went. You know what I mean?
That's why we pre-screen them. We pre-screen them over a couple pints, and so we got this. It's good. We got a system here, guys.
But I don't need to reach out to guys that are going to be assholes to us. I don't need to reach out to ladies. I don't need to reach out to anybody who has some big stature that everybody reads all about them right now. No, I don't care about them. I don't. I honestly don't. You know, if I meet somebody who's a superstar and they're personable and they'd be interesting to come on the show, that's one thing. I don't need to reach out to these people.
I'm not going to beg you.
You know, I mean, it's just that's not what we're about on OSP. That's just not. That's not what we're about at all. So
when we were sitting there talking about her skyhook, she said, "Well, you know, went to Maryland. They listed me at 6'3". What do you think? She's a legit 6'1", 6'2". She had to be has some height. 6'3". She has some height. Okay,
she's 6'3". She was Newbizer 6'1", and she had a couple inches on him.
Okay,
she easily did.
I'd like to know if she's still not know so much in a rec league, but when she's in a gym, does she grab hoop? Was she?
I'm sure she does. She's very physically fit. You could tell by looking at her stature. She's very physically fit still. She takes care of herself. Yeah, she takes care of herself. I got you. Okay. Well, fellas, let's go ahead and wrap the show up. Chops, hit them with your social medias.
You can find me on Facebook, you know, Michael Gregory Mills, the government name. Find me on the X at The Real Big Chops. And I am on the gram at Big Chop 79. So holla at your boy. Send me something. Let me know what's going on with everything.
You're on the TikTok too. We see you on the TikTok.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my thing. I'm getting trying to get better at the TikTok. You know, old man like me ain't really good with the TikTok, ticking, whatever. But I'm getting better.
The night with the lady sleeping after the MMA fights. Fellas, I don't know what just happened.
How we finding you on that social media?
On the X, Instagram. Facebook at 1T Youngin.
Our boy Rasheen he's been a world traveler this summer. You haven't seen him on many shows. He's had a lot of stuff going on though with his uncle being a Negro League Hall of Famer. They've done a lot of things this summer with the Negro League and merging it with baseball. So you know, we miss having him here. I'm sure he'd have had a boatload of questions, but you can find him on Facebook and Instagram. You know, Rasheen Hill, that's where he is. Hey, you can connect with us on the Original Sports Podcast. Our website's podpage.com, Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. And you can find us on Snapchat. All of those are OSP with MM. And we're also on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Original Sports Podcast. You can watch this show on Tuesday nights from 9 to 10. On Roku, and a shout out to our networks. Let's Talk Sports, Sideline Sports, ESEN, and Peak One Network. So we really got a lot of networks that we have jumped on with, and it's been really good for us. Feel free to reach out to us at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com with any comments, questions, even suggestions for guests. We welcome those. Thanks to Steve Medley for doing our voice intro. Charlie Hodgson for doing our music. And don't forget to experience the O next week on the Original Sports Podcast.